Week 13 of DMD250, Intro to Data Visualization. All right, week 13, we are in the home stretch. The finish line is soon. But before we do that, we are shifting gears into a whole new area. We are going to be looking at interactive data visualizations. We are going to make our own interactive data visualization using sound waves as data visualization. And so this is going to get us into our final project, Project 4, aptly titled Interactive Data Visualization. So there's a lot of stuff to go over this week. Now, the issue is that a lot of it we have to go over in person. So I'm going to cover a bunch of it here in the video lecture, and then you guys are going to explore all this stuff on your own between now and the next time we meet. And then when we meet, we'll take a closer look at all of this stuff in person, because since it is sound-based, I want you to be able to hear it in the classroom, over the speakers, you know, the way it's intended. But let's take a look at what we have here in the week 13 overview. So first things first, let's take a look at Project 4. Now we're going to take a quick look at it, then we'll come back around to it, okay? So Project 4, now that you guys have finished your map project, which you all did a really nice job at, we're going to move into our last project, the interactive data visualization, and our theme is going to be sound waves and the visualization of sounds. Now this is something that people are probably more familiar with today than they ever have been because of streaming music and the way we consume music electronically. We are now more aware of what a sound wave looks like, more so than we were in previous decades. So we are going to create some sound waves, we are going to manipulate those sound waves, and we're going to use them as a form of data. Just like geography is a form of data visualization, map making, cartography, all of those things are a form of data visualization. Well, so is a sound wave, because music can be conformed into a data set, and that data set can be visualized using sound waves, and then we can manipulate them. Okay, so the theme: sound can travel through a medium such as air, water, and solids as longitudinal. The sound waves are generated by a sound source, like a speaker, or a vibrating diaphragm, more specifically, of that stereo speaker. The sound source creates vibrations in the surrounding medium, whether it be the air or through the water or even through a wall. As the sound source continues to vibrate the medium, the vibrations propagate away from the source at the speed of sound, thus forming the sound wave. Now, when we say away from the source, meaning that the waves come out almost like concentric circles, almost like dropping a pebble into a pond, and then you get those ripples that radiate outwards from the center. Sound waves work somewhat like that, radiating outwards from the source, from the speaker or wherever the sound happens to be coming from. This, of course, includes your own mouth if you're singing or talking loudly. Note that the particles of the medium, whether it be particles in the air, particles in the water, particles in a solid like a wall, do not travel with the sound wave. Sound waves do not have the ability to move the air or move the water or certainly push through a wall, for the most part, at normal volumes. This, of course, is obvious for a solid, but it's also true for air and water. However, while traveling, those sound waves can be altered, whether that be a reflection, a refraction, or an attenuation by the medium. So as the sound waves travel through the air, the sound can change as it interacts with the air. As the sound travels through water, well, it would sound more muffled, right? That's why sometimes we'll say, gee, you sound like you're underwater. It's because it sounds as though it's muffled. And of course, listening to sound through a wall, if your next door neighbor is playing music in their apartment, yeah, you can hear it, but maybe you can't get all the details because the solidity of the walls between your apartment and their apartment is changing or altering the way the sound is heard. Now, if you were to open up your window and your neighbor opened up their window and then the sound sort of went out into the air and came back around again, it would generally be more clear, right? But if you were further away, even if you were outside, completely in the open air with nothing to impede the sound waves, the further away you get from the source of the sound, well, the harder it is to hear it, right? It becomes softer and softer because the sound waves have to travel a further distance. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do with this assignment, now that we sort of understand the basic premise of what we're doing here, or at least what we're trying to understand, is you're going to play around with this website here called Chrome Music Lab. So let's go to that website. So this is what it looks like here. So Chrome Music Lab is a collection of multiple visual online digital tools that create music in different visual ways and fun ways. As you can see, they're all very colorful. There's a variety of different ones. And they can go from the super goofy, like this rhythm monkey, right, which allows you to basically drum with a monkey simply by clicking, and then the little triangle monkey. And you can play around with the way things sound by adding some shapes. Every time there's a triangle, there is a triangle, and every time there's a circle, it's the drum. And then if you hit the play button, so you're making sound with colorful monkeys. So that's kind of silly, but all the way up to more sort of scientific, kind of serious versions like the spectrogram, which we have here, which allows us to sort of pick an instrument. And in this case, we're going to just use a virtual finger using our mouse. And the way we move our mouse insinuates the sound a certain way. That is a spectrogram. And so on and so forth. So what I want you to do first is to open up this website, Chrome Music Lab, which is linked right from our assignment, and play around with a whole bunch of these different sound-making digital tools. At this point, you have no goal other than to play. See what they do. Try to explore the combination of visual input and audio output, meaning that all of these are visual tools, right? You are creating sound through a variety of different types of visual inputs, bright colors, geometric shapes, funny characters, etc., all using your keyboard and your mouse. So that is your visual input, and then what you're getting out of it, of course, is sound. So input is visual, output is audio. Play around with these and just make some experiments, mess around with it. Some of them give you the option to download the sound that you have just made. Others, they are transient, they are impermanent. You make them and then they go away. So like the song maker here, this one allows you to simply fill in colored blocks. Each one has a different tone. You can adjust the tempo, you could change the instrument form and then play it, and so on and so forth. This one allows you to have a little more control over the settings, to save it, etc., etc. Terribly sorry, excuse me. So your main goal, like I said, is to simply play around with these different visual tools at Chrome Music Lab and just get familiar with them, because we're going to be using them for the rest of the assignment. Now, just to briefly go over the rest of the assignment, now that you've had some time to explore the Chrome Music Lab, we're going to use the tools below, and these are all laid out step by step, so they're easy to follow. You're going to create a data visualization that will originate from a sound. Specifically, you will collect or create a number of sounds on your own, either voices, ambient sounds, music, etc., that will be pieced together to create an oral short story. So we're going to make a tiny little story made from different sounds kind of edited together. You're going to arrange them in a particular order. You're going to then translate your sounds into waveforms, and then these waveforms will be manipulated into a sort of creative artistic data visualization. Now, I have an example of the audio story that you can check out right here. This is one that I made. It's called A Day in the Life Until. You can listen to that. I won't play it here because you'll be able to hear it better on your own. And of course, we'll play it in class too. Now, the actual creation of the project, there are tons of steps. There are 8 total steps. We're going to walk through them in class together. But for now, read through the assignment and become as familiar with this as you can, okay? So again, your job between now and the next time we meet is to explore and read and learn. So again, explore the Chrome Music Lab with all the fun interactive tools. Read through the assignment and check out all these different links that I'm giving you and just become familiar with it. Just to wrap your head around it, okay? Now, the other thing we're going to go over in person is we're going to take a look at, over here, back to our week 13 overview, we have a handout about interactive data visualizations. These are some more examples of data visualizations in the world that are interactive. Now, we've looked at the 100 Years of Rock and Roll already earlier in the semester, but there's a bunch of other ones that we're going to check out. I actually listed this one twice, so you can skip that. But we're going to take a look at these in person. However, if you've got some time, check them out on your own, and we'll talk about them in class. Here's some examples. This is a real-time traffic visualization in the city of Berlin. This is a presentation from the Tampa Bay Times talking about public school systems in poor neighborhoods in Florida. And this is a real-time tally of the Kepler telescope's tally of newfound planets in the universe. So we're going to check out a whole bunch of these things this week, but between now and the time I next see you, make sure that you explore all these things. So it doesn't look like there's a lot of stuff in week 13, but there is a ton of stuff to go over. So make time to go over this. I will be asking you questions. We will be having conversations. So be prepared. All right, I will see you a little later in the week. In the meantime, get to work in digesting all of these sound wave and interactive data visualization items. All right, see you soon.